Hello, I'm Mike and this is Will. We're the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
Now bringing you issue 50 of Age of Sigmar Mortal magazine today. In this issue we got the first of a set of Sigmarite ruins, so add some more terrain to our collection. Bizarrely we don't use them in today's battle report, but if you want to skip ahead to see what it is, there will be a time code in the description and also in the chapter bar. Having a look through the issue, first up we have some background on the Vanguard Chambers. So you've heard about these before. The Fast Riders we got recently are part of the Vanguard Chambers, and these are basically the more mobile Stormcast units, sort of scouts and rangers, information gatherers, but also a potent force in their own right. And on the page over we see the organisation of a Vanguard chamber, some pictures of some of the models involved, so you can see the Fast Riders there, Vanguard Hunters, Laura Quillor is the equivalent of the Lord Arcanum. And talks a little bit here about Tempest Chambers, which are specialised fighting forces of the Stormcast, and it mentions that the Sacrosanct Chamber is also a Tempest Chamber, so most of the models we've had up to this point. There is some more background on the Prima Innerlands. This is during the Age of Chaos. Mentions the shattering of Nagash and Sigmar's alliance, Nagash's hidden pyramid, which didn't activate until after the Age of Chaos. It's mostly about the Chaos invasion of Shyish, and all the mortals there had a very bad time. And then we have some more background on the Ogor Moor tribes. So I think we're seeing a showcase of some of their models as they are part of the Forces of Destruction. Very large and very hungry individuals who form huge tribes and mostly just fight whatever they come across in search of food and treasure. And obviously they mostly eat what they kill. And it talks about some of the sub-factions. So there's the Beastclaw Raiders who make use of large beasts that are large enough for them to ride on in some cases, such as the Thunder Tusk. And the Gutbusters, who are particularly hungry by Ogor standards. It also mentions the Noblars, they're sort of little goblin-esque creatures. And there's a short story here about some Beastclaw Raiders encountering some of the forces of death on the realm of metal. It talks about a Frostlord encountering some strange undead flying creature, which he manages to overcome, and is excited to see what it tastes like. And then we can get up to the how to build guide for our Sigmarite ruins. There's 5 ruins in total, only one of them is actually in multiple parts. It's pretty easy to clip up and put together. It's a very easy build guide, and it just shows what they look like. And then the painting guide for the Sigmarite ruins. So this is pretty similar to the Azurite ruins. There's a fair amount of white, which is painted in the same way, and there's some grey, basically painted in the same way to the grey bits on the Azurite bell tower. And there's a few other details that you pick out. There's a fair amount of bones picking out around them, and the golden cogs and the Griff charger head, which will be a slightly different colour. But there's the finished models, and they look pretty good. Might be a while before we see them, but we can get into our game now.
So in a moment we'll be on to our game, but first we learn about Warscroll Battalions. So a Warscroll Battalion is essentially a collection of models that you take in your army, and if you have all of those models, then they gain some kind of special rule or benefit. So as it explains, it's made up of 2 or more units, and the Warscroll Battalion itself will specify which units you need to take to gain the benefit. It also does note that understrength units, i.e. that don't meet the minimum unit size, can't be used in a Warscroll Battalion. The magazine is about to violate that rule on the very next page, so we'll cover that in a second. But then, as it says, when you're setting up your army, you can choose to deploy some or all of the units from the Warscroll Battalion at the same time, if you like, as a single deployment choice rather than deploying them all individually. So it cuts down on the number of drops you have during deployment as well. And also, battalion abilities, you get some kind of ability, which again will be specified by the Warscroll Battalion itself, that will apply to those units, but only those units that are part of a battalion gain that benefit. Even if you have other units of the same type in your army, they don't gain any of the benefits. There's also some standard benefits you gain in the sidebar on the right there. For each Warscroll Battalion, you gain a command point at the beginning of the game, and if you're using allegiance abilities, you can also take 1 extra artifact of power, which we haven't learned about yet, but that's something that will come up later on. And here's a little tutorial about using them in general. So it explains here when you're organising your force, you can form some of the models into a Warscroll Battalion, and this is where it breaks the rules here, and indeed in the Battleplan we'll look at in a second. It has 3 units of 1 spirit host each, those are all technically understrength units who are using the pitched battle profiles, but never mind, we'll gloss over that for now, because it's just teaching you how to do it. But then those Myrmor Banshees there do not get any of the benefits, they're just also included in your army. And then it's also got an explanation of being able to deploy the whole battalion at the same time, and that you gain an extra command point for each Warscroll Battalion. But here we have the Warscroll Battalion we'll be using in our battle plan in a second. We've got the Execution Horde for the Nighthaunt. So this is composed of a Lord Executioner and 3 units of Spirit Hosts, as it says in the organisation box there. So this represents the souls of those that the Lord Executioner has slain in life. So the ability that the Execution Horde has is that while a Spirit Host is within 6 inches of a unit that is attacking the Lord Executioner, the attacking unit gets -1 to hit against the Lord Executioner. Likewise, while a Spirit Host from the battalion is within 6 inches of an enemy unit, the Lord Executioner gets +1 to its hit rolls against that unit. So the Spirit Hosts themselves gain no benefit, but it basically makes the Lord Executioner better. And then there's a tutorial about using the Execution Horde on the back, so it just explains the penalty to hit the Lord Executioner when Spirit Host is nearby the attacker, and the bonus to the Lord Executioner's hit rolls when the Spirit Host is near the unit he's attacking. So then we can get on to our game. So we've got a little bit of fiction here. Essentially it's explaining that as the Stormcast Eternals continue to fight in the realm of battle, a Lord Executioner has awoken and summoned his Spirit Hosts to him and is opposing the Stormcast. So here is our battle plan Headhunt. So we'll have a look at the board first. We've got 3 mats set out like it shows here, with the 6-inch territories on the long edges and a single objective in the middle. The armies on the right hand side there, the Nighthaunt do have an Execution Horde consisting of a Lord Executioner and 3 units of individual Spirit Hosts, which again, if you're playing by the match play profiles, would actually be understrength units, but we're not worrying about that for this purpose. This is just to teach us how Warscroll Battalions work. As it says, there is 1 objective in the centre, and then for the terrain setup, the Nighthaunt player actually sets up all of the terrain, which is the Azerite Ruins, the Dominion of Sigmar statue, and the Fallen Sigmar head. So this game does not actually include the new terrain that we got with this issue. Hopefully we'll see that in a future issue coming up. But the Nighthaunt player deploys all of that as they wish, and then the players alternate setting up their forces starting with the Stormcast player, but it reminds you that the Execution Horde can be set up as a single deployment choice. And then for victory conditions, it's a bit different to how we've had in the previous few games. At the end of the battle, the Stormcast Eternals player scores 3 victory points if they control the objective. The Nighthaunt player scores 1 victory point if they control the objective. But the Nighthaunt get 3 victory points if the Night Questor is slain, whereas the Stormcast only get 1 victory point if the Lord Executioner is slain. So total victory points available are 4 for each side, but they're just distributed slightly differently. But anyway, that's it for the battle plan overview, so we'll set up everything and get straight to the game. So here we are, here's our mats set up in the arrangements given in the battle plan. We've deployed our armies, but I'll show you the terrain first. So we've got the objective in the centre, as you can see there, and then Michael deployed the terrain as he wished, as it said in the battle plan, so we've got the 2 Azerite Ruins there. And on this board over here we have the Azerite Bell Tower and the Fallen Sigmar statue, and we roll on the random terrain table and we got 6, which is
Sinister, so it's -1 bravery for units if they're within an inch of the terrain piece.
And over on the left-hand board, we just have the Statue Sigmar, and we rolled for that, and we got the 6 for that as well, so it is also Sinister. The Stormcast have to deploy a unit first, so I'll show their deployment. So we've got the Prosecutors on the left flank, the Liberators in the middle, and then the Night Questor slightly further back, because he's worth 3 victory points for the Nighthaunt if they kill him, so I don't want him to get too far forward, and then the Retributors on the right flank. And then having a look at the Nighthaunt deployment on the other side.
Yeah, so I got the Chain Rasps, the Execution Horde, which I deployed all at once, and then the Dreadblade Harrow, and the Lord Executioner will be my general.
Oh yeah, and obviously the Night Questor will be mine. And it doesn't specify who goes first in the first battle round, so we will roll off. So we're on to battle round 1, which is 4 battle rounds, I didn't say that at the beginning, and we're rolling off. Yeah, Nighthaunt 1.
So I think I will go first.
So we'll be on to Nighthaunt turn 1. So the Nighthaunt gain a command point in the hero phase, and that goes up to 2, because they start with a single command point, because they have a Warscroll Battalion.
In the middle, everyone's just going to move up a little bit, and the other Spirit Host is going to go on top of that building. Also, something that isn't immediately obvious is that since these are 3 individual Spirit Hosts, they don't actually give Lookouts to the Lord Executioner, because they're not a unit with 3 or more models, but he is within 3 of the Chain Rasps. And the Dreadblade Harrow is going to use his Phantasmal Discorporation or something like that to disappear and reappear over on the right flank of the Stormcast line.
Yep.
He's way more than 9 inches away there, he's over 12 inches away.
But yeah, that'll be the end of Nighthaunt turn 1. There's nothing else to do, so on to Stormcast turn 1. Here's my movement. We're going to be pretty conservative, just advancing up less than 5 inches in most cases. The Night Questor ran, so he could move a little bit further this way, and so did the Retributors, just because they're really slow. But other than that, we're mostly just staying away from the Nighthaunt at the moment, because the objective isn't relevant until the end of the game. So that brings us on to the shooting phase, where all the Prosecutors are in range of that Spirit Host who's on top of the building. We have 6 shots with their hammers, hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1s. Well, we've got 2 1s to re-roll. Getting 4 hits total. Wounding on 4s. 2.
4 plus saves. Made 1 per 1. Standard 2 wounds.
So that Spirit Host is down to 2. Well, that's the end of my turn, and the end of the battle round. On to battle round 2 and rolling off again. Okay, I got to choose this one, and I am quite a long way away, so I think I'm going to make the Nighthaunt go first. So on to Nighthaunt turn 2.
So my movement phase, this whole formation is just going to move laterally to be near that ruin. This one Spirit Host has decided to hide underneath the ruin.
Yeah, he is in there.
Yeah, he is there. You might be able to see a tiny bit of spook. And then over there, the Dreadblade Harrow is moved up. See if I can tempt the Retributors out, but more likely he'll get charged by something. It's just going to be there to distract the Stormcast, basically. I'm not going to declare any charges just yet.
So in that case, we'll be on to Stormcast turn 2. I gain a command point, and here is my movement. Everybody's moved into the centre, the Retributors ran up front, the Liberators have sort of spread out in a line, the Night Questor is in the middle there, and the Prosecutors have come across to protect his rear from the marauding Dreadblade a little bit, or maybe any Spirit Hosts who want to try and sneakily attack him, and then we'll be on to the shooting phase. And we're going to attack the Chain Rasps this time, because if we want to hold that objective, we're probably going to have to start cutting down the number of Nighthaunt models on the board. So 6 shots on 4s, rerolling 1s. We've got 1 miss, and wounding on 4s. We have 2 wounds only.
5+ save for Chain Rasps, or maybe both.
Oh well, never mind. But that's it for my turn. I'm not going to declare any charges, so we'll be on to battle round 3. So on to battle round 3 and rolling off. Oh, I got a 3 again.
I got a 5. I think I'll go first.
So on to Nighthaunt turn 3.
So I gain a command point and go up to 4, and then in my movement phase, my formation has just moved up in a big block so we can charge the Stormcast, and the Dreadblade Harrow has moved up so he's 3 inches away from the Prosecutors. And then we'll be on to the charge phase. I'll start with the Dreadblade. So the Dreadblade needs anything but 3, he's in. Going to charge the Prosecutors and end up like that, so he's far away from the Retributors. Then the Chain Rasp will charge. Again, anything but a 3, a 5. So the Chain Rasp will finish their charge like that. And then this Spirit Host will charge. Probably need a reasonably high number. 6, probably not enough. So I will spend a command point to re-roll that. Into a 7. It's not going to be enough to get him in, so this Spirit Host is going to try. Ooh, a 12. That gets him behind the Liberators. And finally the Lord Executioner is going to go. Probably needs a reasonable amount. 6, that's not going to be enough to get him where I want to go, so I'm just going to re-roll that straight away. 5. No, that's not enough to get in. So in the combat phase I'll pick the Chain Rasps to go, and they'll just pile in like that. So they have 21 attacks, hitting on 4. So that's going to be 11 hits, that's pretty much average. And then wounding on 4s, 4 wounds.
And 4+ saves, re-rolling 1s. Reroll 1s, and that was a fail, it's still a fail. Into a success, so 1 wound in total. We will put the wound on this one, because he is furthest away from the objective. But then it's my pick, and I think I will pick the Prosecutors to go. They'll pile in like this. This one here can't pile in close enough to attack, but they will put all their attacks on the Dreadblade Harrow, or 2 of them who can. 5 attacks, because it includes the Prime, hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s. No 1s, but we've got 4 hits. Wounding on 3s, 4.
4+ saves for Dreadblade Harrow. Failed 3, he's down to 2 wounds. I'll pick the Dreadblade to go next. Yeah, he's attacking the Prosecutors, he has 3 attacks that hit on 3s, and get 2 hits. And wound on 3s, getting 2. -1, 2 damage.
So 5+ save. Made 1, failed 1, so that's a dead Prosecutor so far.
Yep, and then he's got 2 attacks on the horse that hit on 4s. That both hit. And wound on 5s, no wounds.
So we will lose this Prosecutor who's in here. Then it's my pick, and obviously the Liberators are going to go. So they'll pile in like that, and they're going to put all their attacks on the Chain Rasps. We have 11 attacks on the Chain Rasps, hitting on 4s. So that's 7 hits, and wounding on 3s. 6.
5+ saves for Chain Rasps. Made 2, so that's 4 dead. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And then that leaves the Spirit Host to go.
There's going to be a slight change to my casualties. I'm going to put 1 Chain Rasp back, and then take away this one, because he's actually within 3 inches of the Night Questor, which would allow the Night Questor to actually pile in this way to get in contact with the Dreadblade, and I don't want to do that just yet.
Yeah, because of his special rule, if he is eligible to be picked, he can pile in 6 inches, so by doing this, prevent him from doing that. And then that leaves the Spirit Host to go.
Yeah, and he'll attack the Liberators. 6 attacks, hitting on 5s, and 6s cause mortal wounds. There's a 6 and 2 regular hits, and the regular hits wound on 4s, getting 1.
4+ save, rerolling ones, failed. So it kills the injured Liberator and does another wound. So this Liberator will die, and then a wound on the one adjacent. And then, as discussed, the Night Questor is no longer in range to fight. Nothing to do in the Battle Shock phase, because my unit's only lost 1 model and Chain Ross only lost 4. We're not have to fail a Battle Shock test. So we'll be on to Stormcast turn 3. So I gain command point going up to 3, and then the Liberators are going to stay in melee. The Retributors have advanced onto the objective. Prosecutors retreated from the Dreadblade Harrow. They're all in the middle now near the objective, and Night Questor has moved around, hopefully to deal with the Dreadblade Harrow. He's good against heroes. Nothing to do in the shooting phase because the Prosecutors retreated, so straight to the charge phase, where we'll start with the Retributors. And they roll a 4. I don't think that's enough to get them into the Lord Executioner, actually. It's not enough, so we're going to spend a command point to reroll. An 8, that's good. So they're going to go over there, going after the Lord Executioner, and then the Night Questor will charge as well. And his roll is a 9. And that brings him to there like that. Then we'll be on to the combat phase. I'm actually going to do the Liberators first. They'll pine in a little bit to bring everybody in range, and they're going to attack the Chain Rasps. They have 9 attacks, hitting on 4s, 4 hits, and wounding on 3s, 3 wounds.
5+ saves. Fail them all. Those 3. So I'll pick the Lord Executioner to go next. He has 3 attacks hitting on 2s because there's a spirit host near the thing that he's attacking. We needed it, so they all hit. Wounding on 3s and 6s are 3 damage. 2 wounds. -2.
So 6+ save because they only have a 4+. I made 1, so it takes 1 wound. And we'll put the wound on this Retributor, who goes down to 2. Then I will pick them to fight next, because that Spirit Host could potentially kill one. They will put all their attacks on the Lord Executioner. We've got 7 attacks, hitting on 4s though, because, again, the Warscroll Battalion, there's a Spirit Host near them. So that did make a difference. We've got 2 misses. But that is 5 hits, 3 of which actually cause 2 mortal wounds instead. So 6 mortal wounds, potentially. And then we've got 2 normal wounds that wound on 3s. They're 1.
Normal save, or is saved on a 4+. The Lord Executioner can ignore mortal wounds on a 5+. He ignored 2 of them, so he's down to 1 wound.
He is alive.
Going to pick the Dreadblade Harrow next. He'll put all of his attacks on the Night Questor. So he has 4 attacks now with his sword because he didn't charge. A hit on 3s, get that in the box. 3 hits, and wound on 3s, getting 1.
-1 range, so a 4+ save, rerolling 1s and 2s, because those are fails. Reroll that one into a success.
And then 2 attacks on the horse, hitting on 4s, getting a hit, wounding on 5, getting a wound.
3+ save, rerolling? Yeah, he's got it. And then he gets to hit back, he's not going to pile in. He just gets his 4 attacks, which hit on 3s, but rerolling because he's fighting a hero. So 4 hits, and wounding on 3s, 6s are 2 damage. We've got a 6 and 2 other wounds.
Let's do the 6 first on a 4+, saved. Normal wounds on a 4+, save both, blimey.
So now it's just all the Nighthaunt's remaining picks.
I'll do the Spirit Host fighting the Liberators first. It's going to pile in around that Liberator, so it's closer to the objective. Then it has 6 attacks, hitting on 5s, and 6s do mortal wounds. It has 2 6s and a normal hit. And the normal hit wounds on a 4. It does.
So save for the normal hit, 4+ rerolling 1s, don't fail, so that's 3 wounds going through. This one dies, and then the one on that end will also die.
So I'll do this Spirit Host next, and it's going to pile in 3 inches to get closer to the objective, and it'll attack the Retributors. 6 attacks, hitting on 5s, and 6s do mortal wounds. We got no mortal wounds and a single hit. It's not what we needed. It hit wounds on a 4, it does.
4+ save? Made it.
The Chain Rasps will go, and they're going to pile in round to get closer to the objective, and then attack the Liberators. 7 attacks, hitting on 4s, getting 4, and wounding on 4s, getting 3.
4+ save, rerolling 1s. Oh, 2 3s, so that's another dead Liberator. So we'll actually just end up with the Prime left by himself. That's it for fighting. In the Battle Shock phase, that Liberator Prime would have to take a test, but I'll just spend a command point to automatically pass. And that is the end of Battle Round 3. So we're on to the 4th and final Battle Round and rolling off. I've rolled a 6.
I didn't.
I think I'm actually going to make the Nighthaunt go first in this battle round, because if I go first, then they can just have a final turn, basically to try and deny me the objective. So if I make them go first, I'll be the one who gets to try and make the last gasp for it. Which it's at a risk, but I think we're going to do that. So on to Nighthaunt turn 4.
In my movement phase, the Chain Rasp and the Dreadblade are both going to retreat into gaps so they contest the objective, and that Spirit Host that was hiding in the ruin is going to move out, and then the Lord Executioner and the other two Spirit Hosts are going to stay engaged. And into the charge phase, where the Spirit Host will charge. 6 inches is enough. So we're going to charge the Prosecutors. But in the combat phase, I'll pick the Lord Executioner to go first. So he's actually going to pile in over the Retributors, because he can fly over them, and then put his attacks on them. So he has 3 attacks hitting on 2s. They all hit. Wounding on 3s, 6s do 3 damage. 2 wounds.
6 is to save though. Nope, neither. So it's 2 damage, so it will kill off the injured Retributor. Does kill off the injured one. I'm going to pick the Prosecutors to go, because I think of the units I have, they're the most likely to actually... Well, I think they're more likely to kill the Spirit Host than the Liberator Prime will kill his. The normal one will pile in, and then they've got all their attacks on the Spirit Host. We have 5 attacks hitting on 3, 3 rolling 1s. Well, I've got 3 1s to reroll. That we're all into hits, so 5 hits, wounding on 3s, 4 wounds.
I need to make 3 of these to live. 4 plus saves. Oh, I only made 2, so that Spirit Host dies. Then I'm going to pick the Spirit Host fighting the Retributors to go. So he'll also pile in to get closer to the objective and then attack the Retributors. 6 attacks hitting on 5, 6s do mortal wounds. We got a single hit, wounds on 4, it did not.
And the Retributors are not a risk anymore, so we've got the Liberator Prime to go. He is in range of the objective, and I'm not going to pile in because I'll bring in some Chain Rasps or Dreadblade Harrow possibly if I do that. So we've got 3 attacks on the Spirit Host hitting on 4s. Oh, they all missed.
So the Spirit Host will pile in 3 inches and definitely get in range of the objective. Same as last time, 6 attacks hitting on 5, 6 do mortal wounds. Well, there's 2 mortal wounds. So
that's the Liberator Prime dead as well. And that just leaves the Retributors. They'll put all their attacks on the Lord Executioner because he is worth a victory point. 5 attacks hitting on 4s because of the Warscroll Battalion, 6 do 2 mortal wounds. We've got no mortal wounds and 3 hits. Which wound on 3s? They all do. Pass all his saves.
4 plus saves. Made them all.
Oh.
Blimey.
But that is the end of the turn. No battle shock tests, so straight to Stormcast turn 4, the final turn of the game. So my battle plan basically is going to be kill those 3 Chain Rasps and not lose more than 1 model, because then I should just about be able to win the objective, provided I don't mess anything up. So we're going to move, the Night Questor's going to move around, although he's kind of blocked by that Spirit Host, and the Prosecutors are basically just moved a little bit closer to the Chain Rasps. And in the shooting phase, they'll throw hammers at the Chain Rasps. 4 shots hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. We've got 3 hits. Wounding on 4s, got 2.
5 plus saves. Fail both.
So just the Dread Warden left, and then on to the charge phase, where the Night Questor will declare a charge first. He rolls an 8, which should be good. I'll just roll the Prosecutors as well, they roll 3d6, yeah, they need like a 3 or 4. They finish their charge like that, so we're on to the combat phase. I'm going to pick the Retributors first though, and they'll put all their attacks on the Lord Executioner again. 5 attacks hitting on 4s, 6 do mortal wounds. We've got a 6 and 3 normal hits, which wound on 3s, 2 wounds.
I'll see if he shrugs any of the mortal wounds. Well, he shrugged one, but it doesn't matter.
So he's dead.
I'm going to pick that Spirit Host, that's within 3 of the Night Questor to go next. So he'll pile into the Night Questor and attack him. 6 attacks, hitting on 5, 6s do mortal wounds. 1 hit. Wounds on 4. Oh, he does.
3 plus save, rerolling fails. Reroll fails. Oh, he actually took a wound, he's down to 4. And then the Prosecutors will go, I suppose. They'll put all their attacks on that Chain Rasp. 5 attacks on 3s, rerolling 1s. We roll the 1, so they all hit. Wounding on 3s, 4 wounds.
5 plus saves. No.
Leaves the 1 Spirit Host.
Yeah. So, 6 attacks, hitting on 5, 6s do mortal wounds. Well, we got 2 mortal wounds and a hit. More hit wounds on a 4. It does.
4 plus save. Oh, I failed. So that's 3 wounds. That actually kills the Retributor. So that kills off the normal Retributor over there. And then that just leaves the Night Questor. He doesn't need to pile in anywhere, so he can just attack that Spirit Host. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. Oh, 2 misses. Wounding on 3s, 6 to 2 damage, or just 1 wound.
4 plus save. No.
And that is the end of the combat phase, because the Dreadblade Harrow is more than 3 inches away from anything. So that's the end of the game, and we go to the final victory points. The Stormcast get 1 for killing the Lord Executioner, and then they also hold the objective. They're all 4 models on within 6 inches, whereas the Nighthaunt only have 3. So they get 3 victory points for that, and the Night Questor is still alive, so Nighthaunt don't get any victory points for that. So the game will finish 4 victory points to 0 for the Stormcast Eternals, and we'll recap the game for you now. Well, that was the game for issue 50 of Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine. How do you think that went?
It ended up being closer than I thought it would, to be honest. You basically won by one model. If you hadn't made a save for those prosecutors when the Dreadblade charged, it would have been a draw, I think.
Yeah, I would have been a model down.
No, you would have won still, because we would have contested the objective.
That's true, yeah. But yeah, just a couple of models either way, innit?
Yeah, and I think some things like, if you'd missed a bit more with the Retributors, or hadn't rolled those 3 6s to hit, Lord Executioner might have survived. And to be honest, I'd much rather have had 5 Harridans than the Dreadblade.
Yeah, because you did try and use him to lure me away, but to be honest, I'm just not that scared of him. I just ignored him.
You get more victory points for holding the objective anyway, so you might as well just bomb rush it. Just form a wall around the Night Questor if you're really worried about him dying.
Yeah, I didn't really have any great fear of getting him killed in this game, unless I did something silly like send him out the front so you could attack him with all the Spirit Hosts and the Lord Executioner all at once and mortal wound him to death.
I failed my charge with the Lord Executioner. That probably would have been a mistake anyway. You probably would have ended up stuck in combat with the Liberators for the rest of the game, so you wouldn't have been able to charge the Night Questor anyway. You probably have 3 turns at most to actually kill the Night Questor, I guess, unless the Stormcast player goes first and then you move as far as you can and make a really long bomb charge.
Yeah, I mean, you could have sent the Dreadblade Harrow into him almost at any point, but the problem is he just isn't that good.
Yeah, and I'm still not keen on the Lord Executioner. It's nice when he does 3 damage, but it just never happens.
Yeah, well, like some of the other Nighthaunt heroes, he's only got 3 attacks, and by the time you've gone through hitting and wounding, you tend to only have 1 wound anyway. Yeah. And if it's not a 6, it's only 1 damage. So
yeah, and the +1 to hit helped. Probably made more of a difference than the -1 to hit ended up making. Yeah. That's just the way the dice go. I wouldn't say this is a particularly good Warscroll Battalion. And it's also, I suppose, if you were doing this in a batched game, you'd have at least 9 Spirit Hosts. So.
And yeah, because if you are using points values and the pitch battle profiles, then as it says, you can't take understrength units. The minimum unit size for a Spirit Host is 3. So, I mean, I can see why they would do this with the magazine, just to teach you how Warscroll Battalions work and give you the benefits without having to give you 9 Spirit Hosts. But also, the thing is, this Warscroll Battalion doesn't actually improve the Spirit Hosts in any way.
Yeah, I'd rather improve them, to be honest.
Yeah, they taking a load of those to improve a relatively mediocre Nighthaunt hero.
I think also the issue is that the way Warscroll Battalions work in matched players, you actually have to pay points to get their benefit on top of the points you pay to make the battalion. But a Spirit Torment is about 100 points, which is what this would cost to do. And Spirit Torment lets you roll 1. So you just put a Spirit Torment near your Lord Executioner and reroll any 1s he gets. I mean, I can definitely see myself taking this later on in the magazine to get the extra command point to use for command abilities.
And the extra artifacts of power as well, which we don't know about yet, but that will come up eventually.
And we do learn about a few more. The next issue will have one for the Stormcast Eternals, and I think we do learn about at least one more for each of the sides that you can make. Which they are quite useful. If you're not sure what to buy for your army, you could just look through, see if there's a Warscroll Battalion that you like the rules of and build them, or if you're looking to expand your army, that's quite a good way of doing it.
Yeah, and some of them are definitely more thematic than competitive in the sense that you wouldn't necessarily bring them if you wanted to make a really strong tournament winning list or anything, but if you like certain models and you want to put together a sort of thematic army, then you can do that and you get a few extra rules for doing that. And perhaps that's kind of the point of them. Maybe they're supposed to be, you bring an interesting thematic thing and get a rules benefit to encourage you to do so, I guess.
I do have to question why they gave us such a huge board. I mean, we did use it a bit, but...
Yeah.
And then just have an objective in the middle. And it's still really small armies as well.
This game would have been fine on just 2 boards. We would have still had a bit of space to spread out, but the third board, well, as you saw, we never saw the 2 sides, and the terrain barely came up anyway. Certainly neither of the pieces of sinister terrain came into effect, because they were just too far away.
And kind of weird that they don't say we got Sigmarite ruins in this issue, but he doesn't say to use them.
Yeah, they come with the issue. You show how to paint, but the battle plan is very clear that it doesn't mention them at all. It just says the Azerite ruins, whereas it clearly describes them as being Sigmarite ruins earlier in the magazine. So, yeah, I'm not sure why. They certainly wouldn't detract from this game in any way. I mean, we don't have a war scroll for them or anything, but there's no reason why you couldn't use the scenery table to give them a rule. But anyway, I think that's it for this video, so if you enjoyed this content then please leave a like and consider subscribing. Let us know your thoughts on the game or on Warscroll Battalions. If there's any particular ones that are your favourite that you like to use, then it'd be interesting to hear. But we've been the Tabletop Donkeys and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.